Hello and a very warm welcome. My name is Udo Sendaidukai, and in this video we are creating with a free and open source synthesizer powerhouse SurgeXT bell presets with FM. This, what you're gonna hear, is what we're gonna do. A bell. And you already have a track. More clear sounds. It's always a good idea to check the mid frequencies. You hear the difference? Then let's get started. Okay, then let's start the SurgeXT. I loaded the clap version of SurgeXT, but there's also VST or some other plugin formats. And when SurgeXT is starting up in my DAW, this is Bitwig, but you can use any DAW you want. I have initialized saw tooth wave. So, and you can find this in the template section where you can initialize different things like audio in, duophonic, FM, modern, paraphonic, sine, and so on and so forth. Or you can create your own templates, but that's a completely other story. So what we're going to do today is we are creating a bell sound with FM, and we're using FM2. So I initialize, or I don't initialize SurgeXT with FM2 because I want to show you how you do that manually. So this is some random other template, and then you can go here to the oscillator. The oscillator 1 is actually or currently active, and in this classic menu I can just switch to FM. So now, even there is written in its saw, because that's the template name, you have a FM oscillator or operator. Or you can switch it back to sawtooth. But if I want to use the template, I just can click left here, go to templates and use init FM, and it's the same then. Okay, so what we're going to do is bell sound, and we can do this in different ways. So the most simple basic way is to use one operator, and we have here operator is oscillator in FM speak. So, and we have different modulator amounts. Modulators are other operator that modulates this waveform. And you can see that when I move this modulator around, and you can hear that as well. And there's a second modulator doing the same. The difference between those is that you can dial in a ratio here for each modulator you have. So if I use, for example, a ratio from 1 and use this amount, you hear this. And for the modulator 2, I use a ratio from 4, and then you hear this. Wait. Different. Because at the end, this ratio says use this waveform and go, for example, to 2 octaves higher, 4 octaves higher. I'm not really sure if this 2 octaves higher, or you can go, wait. There's a ratio, there's not octave. So if I go 1 octave higher is 2, 2 octave higher is 4, 3 octave is 8, and so on. So you can dial in another, let's say, modulator, sure, but like another obvious harmonic, it's maybe not the right word for that. But for example, I have just this. So this is not a bell. But a bell has different voices. So most times, if you look at a lower bell like this, and if you hit it with a stick or something, there's always like a high pitch to it. So what we want to do is to add this high pitch, and for that we're using this modulator ratio. So let's go for maybe 8. Maybe something like this. But the high pitch is only a short time there. But it's already like a bell. Not the characteristic of a bell, but it sounds already like a bell. You can try if you can go higher with the ratio. Okay, and what we're going to do, or what we want to do, is to use that amount to just dial it for a short time. And so you get a short time this high pitched frequency, and then you get this back, or nearly this back. And for this, we use an ADSR from the modulator section, this LFO, and we want to use this ADSR. So in SurgeXT, you can right click here and switch to envelope only. So this is completely ignored in this section. You can use, by the way, this area separately, and additionally as a third option. So first option, you use this. In parallel, you use only this. And as well in parallel, third option is you use all three together. So you can use from one LFO, can use 3 different variations of it. Maybe that's complicated right now. But at the moment, we just use the envelope, this one. And with this, I put it down here. And I use a classic ADSR with a longer decay, for example. Okay, so let's activate it and put it here. This ADSR just says go up immediately short attack here, and then put that down slowly. So you already have a bell. And you can just put that in a different, use different values to have a more muted bell. Maybe that's too much. Or you can use a different ratio. More like a not that nice bell. Could be nice, for example. Then you could use the second modulator. So this is your first bell. A little bit high pitched here, but you could use a filter here. Normally FM synthesizer don't have a filter, but you could use this filter. So it's not that harsh. Okay, so this one bell, for example, and this is made in, if you do that straightforward, in a minute or less than a minute, 30 seconds. So you could use the second modulator, this one. This happens sometimes, I don't know why, when I press a control key. No, the combination of keys. Sometimes it works, sometimes not. Okay, you could use the second modulator with, for example, a higher pitched version. And could use another LFO with just the envelope to have a even faster envelope. So let's do that. Then the second amount, let's activate it, click it here, and do it like that, for example. Okay. How does it sound without a filter? Harsh. Okay, and just use a filter. Or maybe just a 12 dB. Okay. And you could try to change the phase of the modulator 1 and 2. But they're so short. I could use feedback, but this gives a little bit more like a sawtooth. Okay, so this is the maybe second bell you have, and what we didn't do is just use reverb, because bells always reverbing a little bit. So we use here maybe a send reverb, or we could use as well. Oh, let's use a send reverb. So use a reverb, maybe a dark plate, for example. Then check if the mix button here is full 100, because again, because you're using this send faders to send the original sound into this reverb. So currently we don't have reverb here, but when we send it to the first aux or bus track, could use a little bit of wobbly with the modulation. And maybe for the bell, there's always a little bit more release. Could make the room a little bit bigger, a little bit. Or not that big. But maybe more decay time. So let me just, if I want to look how this works with just the modulator 1, this is the modulator 2. I can deactivate the modulator 2. Or listen to it with the modulator 2. Just want to have a look if this and currently there's no velocity activated, so every time I hit the keys it's always the same volume. So I always do velocity mostly at the end, because when I sometimes it's a little bit problematic if you hit different hard on the keys, you get different sounds. And currently I want to make sure that every time I hit the keys, I get the same sound, or I have the best opportunity to listen what have changed in this sound. Okay, this is already, or this art already 2 bells. And now you could go in here and say the bell should decay after a while. So there's seldom a bell that rings forever. So pull down the sustain and pull up maybe the decay here. And Activate this again. It's too short, you can just increase decay. And with Surge you have this envelope configuration where you can define how this decay, for example, is behaving. If it's going faster down, if you have a look here, it goes faster down, or it goes linear. This is not linear, this is more like logarithmic. This is more linear, and this is faster down. So if you want to shine it longer, or this one, or you could, for example, let's put a reverb over here. Put this in here. You could put a delay in here, for example. Just a normal delay, nothing special. What we're gonna use, an 8th delay. Then make sure mix button, because it's a cent, is 100%, because we are using this one. We could link this and make this even a little bit longer. For example, or maybe a little bit more crossfeed, high cut, more low cut. Always don't forget to use low cut and high cut on your delays and reverbs. Example. So these are already, let's say 2, or with reverb and delay 4, or whatever you want, but effects are, in my opinion, not really dependent, not so important to define a preset. You always use it for it, but the basic sound is more important. If you add a delay or a reverb or anything else, like ring modulation or distortion or anything, this is just additionally on a basic sound. So what we're going to do is we use another SurgeXT with the init song and change to FM again, FM2. So, but this time we are using 2 oscillators. And the second oscillator we have to change to FM2 as well. So in this time you have to be careful, because the sound exceeds very quickly the maximum volume. Okay, the second oscillator we just pitch up. Like this, for example. Then we use the ratio here. Like this. Then we put this down. Use again this ADSR. So right click, then EG only, unipolar. And click here. So this is your next bell sound. Like this. Then again add reverb. Maybe try spring reverb and not tried that. Try that. So like this. Okay, then we have the same topic like in the last one. A bell doesn't continue like this, so put that down. Use this one, the decay. Maybe like that. And you could, for example, say, okay, the lower volume or the lower frequencies maybe are coming a little bit later to the party. So just use another LFO, then use the EG only unipolar, and then just use a little bit attack. Put that down. Put that up. Deeper. And don't use maybe, or use a not that high octave. And again, delay, for example. Let's use a ping pong delay. That's nice. Mix button. And you already have a track. Then look, for example, the depth of the modulation. Or you could use a chorus in here to make it even more stereo. If I can find the chorus, I use it, for example, directly on the, let's make it deep. And make the rate like low. This is the delay. Let's switch off the delay modulation for a moment. Sorry. So let's switch delay off for a moment. Maybe the spring reverb as well. So this is the original sound. A little bit more release. Then with chorus, I can activate, deactivate with double clicking on it, or right click and I think deactivate. It's the same, or activate again. So always be careful with the stereo width. Let's activate the spring reverb again. Reflections. Chaos. Maybe use another reverb. Oops. Maybe use the dark blade again. This is more controlled, not. This one, maybe more decay time. More room size, bigger room. Now you hear more reflections. So to make them a little bit smoother, you can use diffusion and build up. I think build up is for the early reflections, and diffusion is for the late reflections. And now you don't hear the reflections. I put that down. So the early reflections are already diffused, but you still hear this like a little bit pumping. Put that all down. It's like a delay. We put the diffusion from the late reverb. You hear the echoes from the early reflections going to the late reflections, and the late reflections are diffusing all that. So if you want to have a very smooth reverb, put early and late reflections on build up and diffusion. Use modulation. You hear this modulation at the end of the in the reverb tail. Let's maybe deactivate this a little bit. Then you hear it a little bit better with the modulation. The reverb tail is more constant. This is more wearly. Okay, so put the delay in here that goes in the reverb. that uses build-up and diffusion completely. And you could, for example, I don't know, use maybe an EQ to emphasize or attenuate some frequency bands. If you go for like this frequency, and this is 10, no, let's go for this 600, 300, 400 something. Could attenuate the more mid frequencies. And you could put some more gain then into it. You could do like that. Instead 90, you could emphasize the lower a little bit more. Don't think you would want to do that, but to gain a little bit more clear sounds, it's always a good idea to check the mid frequencies. You hear the difference? For example, so this, I don't know where we are, 3, 4, 5, 6 bell sounds, and you could use here as well the filter if you like to, or you just could do weird stuff like using, for example, let's use, because it's easy, I could use here and other things. I just use from this LFO only this waveform or this oscillator. So I switch to raw waveform, this one. And what I do is I pitch the first oscillator with this waveform. Could do this far slower, for example. Maybe even slower. And I could always change how much I pitch here, or how much I modulate here, or just use this one to not change this all the time. So let's do it more obvious. This doesn't change, so I told you something wrong. So you have to change it here. Or you could use it here, LFO3 oscillator pitch, you can do it as well here. If you don't want to have that, let's kill that here again. You could go back to the whole setting and use an attack, but always look here how long the whole bell sounds. Use this one and then it maybe with a little bit decay. For example. So if you hit the keys slow, then you have this vibrato effect. And you could do that far quicker. Or with the slower, like this. Like this. Maybe not so much delay, high cut. And less scent level. Oh, maybe not so much feedback. Oh, sorry, this crossfeed. Like this, for example. And you could add, for example, velocity here as well, so it depends how hard you hit the keys. So let's deactivate this. This could be a little bit harsh, so add another filter. You could add key tracking, so you always get the same filter. This sounds already like a marimba. Switch that. Something like that. So you can see if you start relatively simple with one operator or two operators, and in 30 seconds you have your bell, and then you start evolving this bell with some effects, like for example a chorus, or you could think about as well, for example, a flanger or phaser. Let's use it like this. Something like that, or flanger, what did I say, phaser, or some really other things, or rotary speaker, for example. But on this, the rotary speaker may be a little bit slow. Or whatever you like, or you can think of, or you just use, for example, the mod wheel to change different things. For example, you could put the filter down, far down, like a very muted, and use the mod wheel to change this, like this. So every time you open the mod wheel, or you do the same with the velocity, the harder you hit, the more the filter opens, or whatever you can think of. This is a very basic FM sound, as I said, that you can create in 30 seconds or less with one or two operators in FM mode from the SurgeXT in the FM2 mode. There are two modes, FM2 and 3. 3 you can define instead of the ratios 1, 2, 3 values in between. And then it starts to get very crazy and very noisy. If you want to have a noisy bell, you can use that as well, or use some feedback to make it a little bit more sound distorted, and try different values here, the very small values and maybe some big values. Just listen to every step you're doing, and yeah, create some bells. I won't share this preset because it's really simple, and it has a great value if you do it for your own, because like you saw it, it's just 2, 3, 4 parameters to move around and just listen to it, adding some delay and reverb, and that's it. So, and then you have your very individual bell sound. So before you leave me a comment, or just say hi or hello, or tell me how the weather is right now. That would be very nice and would help me very much. My name is Odo Sindaidukai. Thank you for your time and attention, and I hope to see you soon again in the next video. Stay healthy, save the future, take care, see you then. Ciao, ciao.